2. Greetings everyone. I hope you're well and having a great day. I'm Donovan. Welcome to Burnout and Break Stuff. In today's video, we're going to cover several things. We're going to do 2, count them 2, will it runs in one video. What? You can't do that. You'll break the internet. Well, that's a risk I'm willing to take for our entertainment. And if we break the internet, we'll get our IT techs to fix all the Googles. Everyone will get their Googles back. Another thing that goes on in this video is something I like to do at least once a week, if I can help it, is taco intermission. To sit down, reflect on the weather, just take a moment to look out at the beautiful sky, the nice temperatures, the things that are wonderful right now at this time of year. So I'll eat a taco, then I'm gonna walk around the property, take a look at the projects that I have going on for the week and how I'm gonna juggle them around in order to make the next video. So, don't blame me, or I guess if you really love tacos, blame me for you having a taco tonight after watching this video. Okay, I hope you watch to the end because there's lots of learning opportunities here. What? Learning? Learning sucks. I don't want to do that. Look. We're learning fun things here. Things that you want to do, things that I want to do. So, it's okay. Calm down. Now let's get into it. Now we're working on getting our 440 off the engine stand and onto our test stand. So I have my 11-inch flywheel, 11-inch bell housing, flywheel bolts and bell housing bolts. So we're going to get this up, off, and onto there. With our 440 free of the engine stand, we've aligned our flywheel and started our flywheel bolts, and then next we'll put on our bell housing. I'm just going to snug these up for now, and then I'll torque them once I get the bell housing on it and get a pry bar against the teeth between the bell housing and the teeth on the flywheel. That'll make it much easier to torque. Cast iron bell housing. Let's see. Make the mark here. Have this thing fall on me. That'll be all right. Okay, with that just basically snugged up there, I'll get the bracket installed on the bell housing, and then we'll go ahead and wrestle this monster up onto the test stand. Get it ready to run again. Now, with our engine situated on the front, bosses where the motor mounts would bolt in, I have it lined up and on the stand there, bolts are through there. Now all we have to do is install our bell housing adapter on the back. and then finish setting the engine down on the stand. And if you want to watch me struggle more so than just shorter takes that I edit out some of the fun, I don't know how entertaining it is for the viewer to watch me work as opposed to shorter, simpler, cleaner videos, like the drive shaft installation on the hot dog, or not hot dog flavored water, the drive shaft installation on the engine, the shop dyno, Jekyll and Hyde. Okay, put it down here, or not. So tight, just about lined up, but not quite there. Let me get my rubber mallet and give her a little tappy, little tap, tap, tap-a-rooski. Sometimes I leave the frame and I come back. It's just so much fun. There we go. Look at that cooperation. A bickety and a bang. Okay. Back up, we need to go. There we go. That's got it. Fairly level. Okay. We're floating up front, so I don't have any torsional loading that might crack something. And then we set her, finish setting her down. And that's all there is to it. So we can unchain the beast from the stand, from the shop crane, and finish installing the rest of the accoutrement to get her up and running.
Look at those clouds. I mean, look at the green space. Hummingbirds. Highway traffic noise. Try to pretend it's the ocean. You're at the beach. Anyway. Man. What a glorious day. That's a great Taco Tuesday. New seat cover. It smells like a new car again. New car again. New car again. New car again. It smells like a new car again. Interesting. But let's check out the burnout and brake stuff. Project Palace. Oh my goodness. Wow. You can't be serious. That's a really clean looking build on an old ratty car. Why would you do that? It's an old ratty car. Why would you do that? Well, it's all I know how to do. At least all I know how to do well without, well, okay. I still piss off people. No matter what I do, I seem to hurt people's feelings. It's not meant to be. But anyway, this is a great project shop. Igor, the media cabinet. Look at Igor. You can run walnut shells in it. All different types of media. It's a pressurized hopper, so it's not gravity fed. Just, the bench is always full of just stuff to work on. Now there's our Dart instrument cluster. It turned out quite nice, by the way. BT dubs. I need to turn the light on so we can see it, but that's all right for right now. We're checking in, we're seeing what's going on. Look at the glorious nature of things. Hello, big beastie. 16P dubs. Power wagon. Our 1973 freebie duster from JK. Wiring harness for that. And over here, like I said, I need to get lights turned on so we can see in there. It's all good. It's the tub of wire I received with the purchase of the 1973 Dart Sport 340, affectionately known as hot dog flavored water. I enjoy the car. We'll see what we'll get right around to what's going on. I mean, just the check-in right here. My loosey-goosey press. It's hard to get things straight on it. It requires some leveling. Under the blanket is a Dream, JD squared Model 32 tubing bender for bending my own subframe connectors and roll bars, roll cages, that type of thing. I have 2.5 inch for trying an exhaust system for our Ramcharger project, which there's the 440. And I have 1.75 inch for 5-point roll bars. 5-point with 1.75 inch? Yes. 1 5/8 is roll cage. HTP Pro Plus 220 MTS. Power supply for stick, MIG, and TIG. It can do all three. I'm thinking about stick welding some stainless headers for Project Street Ram. My 69 D100 tunnel ram, 2-plate dual stage nitrous kits. Yeah, fun times. Let's get out, let's go outside now. Just project breakdown and, well, no breakdowns. Burnouts and break stuff, for sure. That's gonna happen. 77 Ramcharger project. We're getting the pieces closer together. There's the drivetrain part, 727, NP203. Just right through here, and then here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's our transmission cooler. That one I do know. We're gonna stack a plate cooler in a modern sense. I'm not gonna clamp it. Not gonna clamp it to the heat exchanger for the engine. I'll stand it off like modern day vehicles. Anyway, I mean, come on, right? Come on, where are we going? Oh, the shop crane's in the way of the money shot. Shop crane's in the way of the money shot. Yep, and there's our 68 Dart GT convertible project. Hello, Ducati. Look at the wonderful colors, the reds and the yellows, and let's slip rolling this way, and then look back this way. Look at the car, A body, motorcycle, B body, A body in the, it's like the home of the A body. How did the lone B body? Oh, there's a C body, and there's trucks. There's the B body, and there's a silver tail wagon down there, a long roof, 6-window sedan. Oh, what do we have here? Oh boy, more. How do you have so many projects? Why? I know, right? And then there's and then more and more and more. There's more, and just projects everywhere. Projects. Using our manufacturer's torque specifications, I've torqued the fasteners, the 3/8 fasteners on the bell housing down to 30 foot-pounds. There's a 7/16 fastener under each corner. They get 50. And I use a pry bar into the teeth of the flywheel up against the bell housing to hold the flywheel. Using a torque wrench, of course, I've torqued those up to 60 foot-pounds. So now we're going to get our battery tray installed and our electronics, our ECU, voltage regulator, and starter relay. I just mount them right here on the upper section of the bell housing. So we'll get those set up on here, snugged down, struggled on here. I don't have any torque specs for these. I just tighten them down till they squeak and call it good. Like that right there. So we're all set. And then we'll move on to upper and lower hoses. Now, with my heat exchanger, i.e., aka radiator, or in some vernacular, radiator, whichever terminology floats your boat, let's go with that. I have caps on it, upper and lower. Since it was in storage, I didn't want stuff getting in and out of it. It was stored with a cap. I went through my parts and located the upper and lower radiator hoses that came with it. We'll get those installed. And I like to put a little bit of grease just on the inside of each end of the hose to facilitate installation and especially removal without struggling and tearing the hose apart to try to get it off of there. So let's get things installed. Caps out of the way. A bit of grease wiped in there. A little bit in there. Not talking rocket science. Just
on there. Okay, that one's tight. That's good. Get our upper one installed. That simple, I like it. I love it when a plan comes together. All right. Piece of cake, right? Okay, we're just gonna keep snapping our pieces together here, getting this big beastie ready to run. All, I think, 205 horsepower. Is that what a 77 440 was rated? 205? I don't know, I'll look it up in the service manual and see. Okay, on to the next thing. Now with our heat exchanger installed, upper and lower radiator hoses installed, that's all secure. We're set to go in the cooling section once we add water. Next up, we're going to install our control panel here, oil pressure gauge, voltmeter, and water temperature. Start, run. If we have an electric fuel pump, we can always add that to it, use it. Electric fan, same thing for an electric water pump. And there's my hodgepodge of wiring under there. All there is to this. And here. Down to the mark. From there. Here. All right, with that installed, now we'll be able to plumb in our water temperature gauge, it's mechanical, and our mechanical oil pressure gauge. And we're just getting one step closer each time. We'll just keep moving on forward. Putting those puzzle pieces together. I'll get the exhaust system out here and get that up on there. And keep moving forward. Next up on our list of fun time things, the exhaust system. A turbo muffler and a cobbled together Y pipe. Let's get her up in there. Again, cooperation would be greatly appreciated. I need extra sets of arms and hands, and that's all right though. We'll get her in there. Okay. That one. Need a washer from the other side. Well, I'll probably use it. Go ahead, hold this side up to balance out the load. Would make sense to me. Stop making sense. You don't get paid for making sense. You don't get paid anyway. I don't know what you're talking about.
to find a bolt for that. And we'll be all set. There we go. All right, I'll find a bolt for that. We'll be good to go. Now that we have our exhaust system installed and secured to the stand, next up we're going to build our fuel system. So I have a fitting to get us from the exit of the pump, some fuel hose, a replacement fuel filter, and some clamps. But before we get to that, we need to source a carburetor. And what we're going to do is source a carburetor off of our 1968 D100 in the salvage yard. I rebuilt that carburetor probably more than a year ago, and we'll need to go get that to put on our 440. So let's go get it. Since we need a carburetor for our Ramcharger 440, we're going to head out here to the salvage yard, which is where I'm currently located at the 68 D100. And I'm going to do a will it run to test the carburetor that I rebuilt probably more than a year ago at this point, and want to check it out on this engine before putting it on the 440. So I thought I'd just come out here and do a quick will it run. So I need fuel, then my squirt bottle to fill the bowl on the, I believe it's an Edelbrock carburetor that's in here. I keep a can down here to put fuel in, that way I can avoid the fuel tank. So I'm going to go ahead and stick a battery in it, put the ignition switch inside the cab and fuel it up, and we'll see if it goes. Put some fuel in our jug, battery, the ignition switch in the vehicle. Put some fuel in the carb. Fuel there. Would see this thing and say there's no way in hell that thing runs. Runs pretty smooth. Alternator's charging. Well, I can't believe the dome light works. Temperature's still cold, maybe just a hair bit off there, I don't know. Decent oil pressure. Listen to this torque monster. Listen to that. It's like a sewing machine. Should make a good carburetor for the 440 on a test stand. With our warm carburetor straight off the 318 from our 68 D100, and our hose cut to length with the filter installed,
let's go ahead and install our carburetor. With our fuel delivery system completed, hose, carburetor, next up is the electrical. We get our plug wires routed, coil installed, electronic ignition, ground strap, and starter. Let's get that stuff installed and then top off our cooling system, give it a pressure check, and stab a battery in it, and let's get her lit off.
Okay, following up with our electrical, we have our plug wires routed and hopefully all connected to the appropriate spark plug. Our coils installed. We have our electronic control unit plugged in. Battery installed, not connected yet at this point. Our starter is in, and now we're gonna top off the cooling system, give it some juice, give it a pressure test, and light it off. Get our jug of juice here.
Just fill it up until it pours out onto the floor. Call it good. Juice. That's it. All right, just a little bit more. Thirsty. Good. Well, it's not on the floor yet, so I guess that's good. It's just thirsty. I need to go get more juice. With our cooling system topped up, I'm going to use my cooling system pressure tester. Check for any type of early leak detection here. Let's see, I'm going to go to 16 PSI on this. because that's what the AC cap is rated for. There we go. Looks steady enough for me to continue on. I don't see coolant piling out onto the floor. Looks like there might be a drip, and it most likely coming from the thermostat housing that needed a replacement housing, as I recall, from however long ago. Anyway, it's tight enough for me to light it off, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and get our jug of Go Juice and fill the carburetor with some Go Juice and make it happen. All right. Okay, I believe that we're all set to go here. I just need to fill the float bowl in the carburetor. Safety's in there somewhere. And to show you that it's cold, would I do that? I mean, if I didn't have a brain in my head, would I do that if it was hot or warm, so it hasn't been lit off? And if it catches fire on here, hopefully I don't catch fire with it. I'll just be able to shove it out the door. All right, there's that. Run, I got lights. Charging system, our 100 amp alternator is working. We have good oil pressure, obviously. 66 pounds. Sounds like it's running a little rough. I could use a good warming up. As it should be, right? It's that easy. I mean, an internal combustion spark ignited engine needs 5 things to run, and that's it. And oil is not one of them. It needs oil in order to continue running, but it needs air, fuel, spark, compression, and a properly timed valve train, meaning that the valves are opening and closing at the appropriate time. The piston is in the cylinder, towards the top, towards the bottom, so we don't have any valves flashing into piston top. Get it up to operating temperature and then do a blow test on it. You know, compression. See what those cylinders are doing.
just starting to get a little temperature to it. Idle. About 3 degrees after top dead center, so we're not at 0 or before top dead center where we should probably be. 800 RPM. We're now up to an operating temperature of 185 degrees, so we'll shut her down here in a little bit and bust the plugs out of it, snap the blow gauge on it, and crank her over and see what we get for compression. 800 RPM idle, 44 pounds of pressure, and the charging system is working. All right, that looks like a good place for it to shut itself off, and we'll get to compression testing. Okay, let's get the plugs out of it. Yikes. Huh? Just sitting there idling there. Burning pretty clean. Must be running lean. Lean skis. Having fun now. So, testing the valve seal in the cylinder during the compression stroke. That's what we're up to. Boy, that's warm. Woo! Yowza! Keep your phalanges away from that. And in order to properly do that, according to the service manual, because that's what I like to use as a benchmark for what the factory says is good for the engine. And so, oh wow, that's the end of the, okay, yeah. That spark plug in just came off there. Good wires. They're just junk that I pulled off of however many other cars over the last 25 years. So anyway, from what the service manual says, engine needs to be up to operating temperature, all plugs out, and the carburetor held at wide open throttle. So let's see if I can get you to connect there. Ooh, smoky. Paperwork. Start with cylinder number 1. And what's our current temperature? 195 degrees.
Okay, 195 degrees. 130. 95, 130. Okay, next 3. 130. 95. On to number 5. Okay. 130. Yep, 195, 130. Makes a good space heater too. Could put an engine on my test stand since I don't have a heater in my shop during the winter time. Run the single exhaust on it and punch a hole in the wall and put it outside and use this as a space heater. All right. 135 on that one. Number 7, 135. 135. Yeah, I don't think I should smoke that. Probably lead to a really severe headache. Well, what's nice to see is the floor isn't covered in fluids, so that's good. Need to get longer arms though to reach around here. All right. 135. 2 is 135. And we're still cooking in the 195 area. 190. 130. 130. I believe the service manual says minimum compression is 100 pounds on this, but I'll pull it out and verify all those facts and make sure that we're good. But as long as they're all within 10% of one another, I believe is the goal. 130. 30, 90, last one. Good, man, thing's warm. I'm gonna ditch this hat and shirt now. Okay. temperature, 135 on compression. So 185, 135. All right, there's our results. So everything is right at 130, 135 on all 8 cylinders. So as far as the old compression is concerned, we're doing well. Engine seems to be in good shape there. I believe it has 94,000 original miles on it. And given what I know about maintenance and folks, not wanting to do it, with only 94,000 miles on this engine, it's quite possible it still has its original timing set in it, which means the cam gear is an aluminum gear covered in nylon teeth, so it will run more quiet. Noise, vibration, and harshness was a concern for manufacturers. And so what I want to do is, knowing that I believe it needed a rear main seal, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see what kind of puddle it leaves under the engine anywhere along the way here. But yes, taking the pan off and putting a rear main seal in if it needs it, and then getting the front drive assembly off of it, damper off the front, and timing cover off. I definitely want to check the timing set on it. I could also do a play test, how much play is in the rotor on the distributor, by turning the chain in one direction and then backing it off in the opposite direction while looking at the timing marks on the damper. And that would give me some indication of how much play is in it. But once the engine's running in a certain direction, in its normal direction, from the front facing the engine clockwise, it tightens the chain, so that's not an issue. My concern is the nylon teeth on the cam gear coming apart, and then once that happens, the timing chain skips time, the valves end up in the pistons, and then the person has a mess on their hands. So let's avoid that. We want to make sure that this thing is tip top for the next owner. They want to, just like me, they're going to want to get in it, click the key on, have it light off just like it does on this test stand. Just like when you watch almost any of the videos I've done with Will It Runs, it lights right off because I have a clue of what I'm doing, but don't tell anyone. All right, let's get it back together. With our compression check completed, spark plugs back in, plug wires connected back up. I fixed the one that the wire pulled out of the connector. I repaired that. Want to start it back up again and make sure that it runs again still. And I believe I will. You have one of these in your toolbox, right? Never had to bend a wrench before. Anyway, it's a distributor wrench. So I want to get down in here, loosen the distributor up, and put a little bit more timing in it, because it looked like it was 3 degrees after top dead center, as opposed to something like, I don't know, 0 right at top dead center, or maybe say 6 to 8 degrees advance, which should probably help it run a little bit better. So let's light it back off and see what happens. RPMs on our stack for our timing light. So there's normal motor on it. That's good. £50 oil pressure, 13 and change for full at 150 degrees. I think I'll just leave it at that. Seems to work well and idles well and looking good. I noticed that we have one small leak developing here on the floor, and it's coming right out of the around our oil pump. So our oil pump could potentially use a new O-ring and seal. I have pump rebuild kits for BBCs, and that's not Bitches Be Crazy or Big Block Chevys. It's the other BBC, Big Block Chrysler. So anyway, I think that will conclude today's video. Got a good operating engine to return to our 77 Ramcharger. Want to get it all, you know, puzzle pieces snapped back together. I appreciate everyone watching. I hope you have a great day, and yeah, life is good, right? All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the positive comments. I appreciate everyone out there. I hope you have a great day.